Story 1. I read upside down or backwards from the wrong side of the paper and I can decipher the illegible handwriting of others. I do it so quickly and automatically that I often read things I should not before I even realize I am doing it. Do not leave anything sensitive where I can see it, even if it is upside down, backwards, or written in chicken scratch. Story 2. I can almost always tell the exact time without looking at a watch. Story 3. My problem is the opposite. I am mediocre at everything and excel at nothing. Story 4. For me, rock, paper, scissors. I am not sure why or how I know what to do, but I have a very high win rate in that game. Story 5. I have been playing the Nintendo Entertainment System my whole life. I can beat Mega Man 3 in about 45 minutes without dying. Story 6. I catch things I drop before they hit the ground, mostly keys. I do it every time. A few years ago, in front of the Metro Goldwyn Mayer Grand in Las Vegas, my friend collapsed from heat exhaustion and I grabbed his hand before his head hit the concrete. So my skill finally paid off. Story 7. I remember things, but I am too dumb to make that work to my advantage. People at work always bring up some obscure nonsense we did once 5 years ago, so they can do whatever needs to be done. I just want to be left alone. I am at work for the paycheck. Any actual work I have to do is an unfortunate side effect. Story 8. I am good at remembering song lyrics and useless facts about anything. Sadly, I cannot use this to my advantage because my talent is picky and will not work with important things. But hey, I can sing along with any song from my playlist from 10 years ago and tell you that sloths sometimes slow their metabolism down too much and die. Story 9. Skee-ball. I have brain damage. My movement is often locked into one pattern, and I have trouble processing more than one thing at a time, especially audio. Background noise does not distract me when I focus on a single task. Skee-ball is a slow game. Because it involves rolling a ball rather than fine motor skills, I am quite good at it. Story 10. I notice differences in people. I tend to scan them, so the second they do something different or something appears on their bodies, I already know. I also notice body language changes and hold impeccable eye contact. This is apparently really weird to other people, but I identify many future high-risk patients and urinary tract infections at my job. If your urine did not look like that a week ago, I am going to tell my boss your urine looks unusual. It is too dark. Once I suspected brain cancer in one of my favorite older residents at my facility. He had recurring pink eye. I did not know he had brain cancer at the time. He had been in remission, and I thought he just had dementia like many of the other residents. He sadly died when the cancer returned more aggressively. I still think it is remarkable that I suspected it, especially since staff did not believe me. Fair enough, I am a housekeeper, but I am usually right about these things. My sense for urinary tract infections is almost never wrong. Hair is brushed the wrong way and you had 4 cups of coffee instead of 3. I honestly think I keep too many files on people in my head. Story 11. I often figure out the twists and secrets of a movie far too early. For example, when watching Get Out with my spouse, I predicted the plot within the first 10 minutes. The same thing happened with Nope and many other films. It really scares my spouse, who thinks I have magic powers. Story 12. I feel like my vocal range is wild. I can sing almost every note. I'm not a great singer, but I can sing. Story 13. Bouncing a ping pong ball on a paddle for long periods of time. No, I am not good at ping pong. Story 14. I was a dental nurse for 7 years, and I can spot unclean teeth and gums within seconds of seeing someone. I notice tartar, plaque, coffee stains, smoking stains, hypermineralization, inflamed gums, and even slightly red gums from not flossing every day. No, this is very triggering for some people, so I never tell anyone except my husband. A close friend has gum disease because she has a phobia of brushing her teeth and of dentists. It is very traumatic for her, and I feel terrible every time I notice the infection. Story 15. I used the cardinal directions. One night, I rode out of a blizzard in the dark on horseback when the others wanted to go the wrong way. I saved our lives. Later, I locked the keys in the truck. Story 16. I can imitate a baby's cry, replicate the exact sound an old kettle makes, and reproduce the noises of a barking dog and a purring cat. I can also do perfect impressions of Elmo, Mickey Mouse, and a Texan accent. I am British with a very brummy voice. Story 17. Keeping time in my head makes for a cool party trick. If I ask someone to set a stopwatch for 1 minute, I'm always within 3 seconds. Story 18. I can guess accents. I have no idea where the person comes from, but I have guessed some obscure accents from countries where I had never heard anyone speak before. I have even occasionally identified the regions within countries that people are from, even though I know nothing about those countries. I have never been wrong. It really surprises people when I guess correctly. It goes something like, you sound a bit Russian, but it's not Russian. I imagine Ukrainians sound a bit angrier. You must be Belarusian. Story 19. Running restaurants is something I love. Meeting new people in a vulnerable setting has generated a great deal of business for me over the years in other sectors from people I met while dining out. There is nothing better than a well-run, smooth restaurant. The staff speaks very little. Story 20. Music. If I had tried, I could have gone to a great music school and maybe even made it as a small artist. Life got in the way and I am doing other things. Music is still a passion for me, but not enough of a commitment to spend countless hours trying to perfect it. I mostly do it for enjoyment now, which feels good. Story 21. I can hear that the television is on even at 0 volume. It is as if the internal components emit a wave I can perceive. Story 22. Waking up early on weekends and late on weekdays. Story 23. This might be a bit not safe for work, but here goes. My college experience could be summed up as engaging in sexual activity constantly. One thing I know for sure, my sexual skills are unmatched. People kept coming back for more. Postscript. I am a man. Story 24. League of Legends. I made it to the top 3 Anivia players in the world. Story 25. Spelling. I was a champion at it. I corrected everyone. I know way too much about etymology. Story 26. Throwing away hard work and self-sabotage. I make a nice drawing, then spill coffee on it. I build myself up in a job, then change jobs and have to start from scratch. I make money with cryptocurrency, only to lose my private key. I build a Reddit account, then make one comment that goes against the flow and gets downvoted to oblivion, making the account useless. Story 27. Give me the schematics and parts books, some piece, and I will fix the broken equipment. Story 28. I am in the top 100 of a video game and reached the legendary rank in Call of Duty Mobile within a couple of months. I defeated my friend who has been playing for 5 years. Story 29. Random, useless trivia. Did you know Axl Rose's real name is William Bailey? And Billy Crystal was asked to be Buzz Lightyear before Tim Allen? Story 30. Note-taking. I used to be bad at it, but I eventually became extremely good. Almost nobody takes notes as well or as orderly for learning purposes as I do. People have offered me money and drugs for access to my notes. Story 31. The Scooby laugh. I do not practice it, and I cannot explain it. Story 32. I am wildly entertaining in a large crowd when I am feeling socially withdrawn. Story 33. Spelling has been a strength ever since childhood. I can hear words I have never seen on paper, sound them out in my head, and 9 times out of 10 spell them correctly on the first try. Story 34. I can take knowledge from one field of life or science and apply it to another. I can make educated guesses and be correct with some small caveats, even without understanding the full reason, and still be generally correct in my assumptions. Story 35. Being disorganized but knowing where things are when I need them. Story 36. My tenacity to avoid letting life make me completely bitter and angry. Story 37. I have interview and podcast-style conversations in my head about random topics. Sometimes what I say is pure gold. Story 38. When I read people, I sometimes scare myself by how accurate my assumptions become. I pretend not to notice because I do not want to rob them of their inner work. Story 39. Pattern recognition in television shows. When my girlfriend is watching an episode, I can usually tell how it will end within the first 10 minutes. I do not know how I do it or the specifics of pattern recognition. I am just good at guessing. Story 40. Pointing out character flaws to people who are unaware, which ruins the mood. Story 41. I am anxious. I could win a gold medal if there were a championship for anxiety. Story 42. I am really good at managing our household finances. I have a spreadsheet set up for an entire year, broken down by month and then by day. All of the formulas are calculated so that any additions or subtractions are automatically updated for the rest of the year. All expected finances are entered into the budget by the first of the year, so there are no surprises or forgotten bills, especially yearly or quarterly expenses. I overestimate what we will be expected to owe by using the highest amount due. For instance, our electric and gas bill was $350 at its highest ever. In the summer, the bill is usually on the high end, around $300, but it has never gone over $350 again, so we know there is enough to cover the reading. In the winter, it will not be $350, but you never know, so I leave it at the highest amount and update it when the reading is done. In reality, we may only owe $150, so we are $200 under budget and can either pay more toward another bill, put it in savings, or leave it in the account. I love setting up my budgets for the new year and being able to see what we may be able to do financially in the upcoming year. This year, the goal was to pay off our car, and we did last night. Next year, there is some veterinary care to handle, maybe some home maintenance, and continuing to chip away at our debt. Story 43. I remember song lyrics. They are all hard-coded in my head. Story 44. Somehow, when I wake up in the morning, I can predict the exact time within 1 to 2 minutes without looking at a clock, whether it is dark or light, for example 6:30 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. Maybe that is not that unusual, but it feels strange. Story 45. Self-taught technical skills. I learned Fusion 360 in about 2 to 3 months and developed skills in welding, torch operation, and basic machining. Story 46. I remember song lyrics. Too many things go in one ear and out the other, but not the lyrics. They stick with me forever. Story 47. I enjoy guessing the ending of a movie I have never watched. My husband and I have fun with it, especially when he has seen the movie and I have not. I do not know how to explain it, but I pay attention to every detail. Usually, within the first 15 minutes, I can tell how the movie will end or what the main plot will be. Story 48. I mimic animal noises so convincingly that people genuinely believe there is an animal indoors, often while multitasking in food service settings. These two behaviors often overlap. Catch me in a hot kitchen making chimpanzee noises at my boss, or making a seagull call to warn people I'm coming up behind them. Story 49. Product merchandising. It is not really a life skill per se, but people are often in awe watching me. I can completely redo a section with no plan, just dive in and wing it, and it looks good for real. I am often sent to other stores to fix their displays. I can also do a very good Stitch impersonation. Story 50. I enjoy finding things, spotting differences, and noticing items that do not belong. Once I found my friend's diamond wedding ring in an empty blacktop parking lot that held 100 cars shortly after a rain. They had been looking for hours. It took me about 5 minutes. Where's Waldo was a joke to me when I was a kid. Story 51. I remember people's birthdays. For some reason, my brain stores that information specifically. I have a large family. 7 siblings and 23 nieces and nephews. I know all of their birthdays, as well as my grandparents, my parents, and many aunts, uncles, cousins, and childhood friends' birthdays. In a few hours, it will be my dad's birthday. I wish my brain were as good at holding on to more useful information. Story 52. I was terrified of guns, but to overcome my fears, I tried target shooting with a .22 caliber rifle and found it addictive, rewarding, and fun. A friend coached me 2 minutes before my first shots. My first 6 targets were all dimes. On each target, 3 of the 5 bullets were within the diameter of a dime. Averaging about 150 rounds, I score solidly in the National Rifle Association Distinguished Expert category. I can shoot equally well left and right-handed. Story 53. I am a bit unusual, but I am really good at spotting a mistake in a pattern. For example, in those puzzles with a page of M letters and a single N, I can usually find it quickly. Comes in handy at work when I have to find mistakes in large amounts of data. Story 54. Predicting divorce and single parenthood, even for people who are currently single with no children. Story 55. If you tell me your birthday, I will remember it for life. I know the lyrics to every Taylor Swift song. I'm not ashamed. Story 56. I can tell when bread, cookies, or cakes are done baking by smell, even if I am in another room. Story 57. Picking up other people's feelings. I can tell when someone's heart is racing, yet I cannot hear or feel it. I just know. It's strange. There is the spoken conversation and a silent one happening at the same time. It is not always good. Can be tiring. Story 58. Crocheting and weightlifting. I have a wide range of interests. Story 59. I make puns out of just about anything. I began with the basic run-of-the-mill egg puns and gradually shifted to other puns. Now my mind naturally connects the dots on a word, action, or idea in a subversive way. In short, I am quite punny. Story 60. I learned to play multiple fast punk songs within 1 week of getting my drum kit. After 2 years of playing drums, I am nearly an expert and know hundreds of songs. Story 61. I make my physical environment a mess. I don't know how I do it. Story 62. I recognize people from obscure cues. If I see the back of someone's head, I can often identify them, including their full name. I am great at remembering names and faces. I often surprise people by knowing their name after they have spoken to me only once or twice without a formal introduction. I can recognize you from your shoes, hoodie, necklace, or hairstyle, and it takes me about 0.2 of a second to learn your new hairstyle if you change it suddenly. I often unsettle people by recognizing them and noticing details about their appearance and clothing that most people overlook. Story 63. I'm extremely good at reading cat body language. It's almost as if I can speak their language. With every cat I've had, I've cracked the code, and I love doing it. I wish I could be the cat whisperer. Story 64. Losing both the tape and the scissors while wrapping a gift without moving. Story 65. Good. I searched the comments and I'm the first to say Tupperware. I have an uncanny ability to look at the food, sauce, or other leftovers in a pot and pick the perfect container. I have never misjudged. It's an odd skill. Story 66. I'm really good at word searches. The words just stand out on the page to me. It's a strange talent, perhaps a skill to have. I wish it could result in more than winning a few random contests, laughing out loud. Story 67. Reading people and seeing their internal wounds. I know what someone wants to say before they finish. Remembering the past. Story 68. Remembering numbers, everything from dates and phone numbers to long strings, is honestly rather useless most of the time. It is more of a convenience, especially for phone numbers. There have been times when it was useful, such as when I needed to remember many numbers at once, but that has happened so few times in my life that I wish I could trade that skill for something I would use more than 10 times. Story 69. Since I was a child, I have been good at understanding heavy accents, baby talk, and anyone who is difficult for others to understand. Story 70. I remember everything, especially numbers, specific details, and patterns. It is odd and must have a name. I can recall number sequences with no effort. Everyone around me thinks it is very strange. Story 71. I can recognize the voice of someone I heard 10 or 20 years ago. Story 72. Estimating how something will fit into a space is difficult. Without actual dimensions, I have no idea what you mean. Show me the space and take me to look at objects, and I can almost find a perfect fit. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.